Hi, I'm Dolly Vasta, and welcome back once again to For Art's Sake. We're taping in Teaneck, New Jersey, the home of the American Stage Company. And wait till you meet my guest today. He's a resident of New Jersey. He's an actor, director, author. He's Paul Sorvino. Welcome, Paul, to the show.
Thank you, Dolly.
Let's get right down to the nitty-gritty. I know that you're kind of in a rush today. And what is the American Stage Company, and how did you get involved in it?
It's a transportation between cities on the prairie. That's what we joke around about. We've got a sign outside the office that really looks like an American stagecoach company. The fact is, it's a new professional theater in Bergen County, and the only one. It's the only professional theater in Bergen County. And we have already done, last spring, 2 very successful productions, the first being All the King's Men, which I starred in, and the second, a revival of Two for the Seesaw, starring Tove Feldschuh, which I directed, and both were very successful and very gratifying. And now we're embarked on our second season, which will be 5 plays, the first of which is the Rainmaker, which I'm directing, and that opens October 24th.
How did all of this evolve?
Well, Ted Rollins and Jim Singer contacted me because they had already gone to Fairleigh Dickinson University and talked to them about acquiring the theater. And then when they had that in line, they had that in place, they called me and asked me if I could be of any help, if I would be of any help. I didn't know them, they knew me, and I told them I could be of help if you want to keep a certain standard, if you want to do a certain kind of, or a certain caliber of work. Then I could be of help, and discussion led to discussion. I saw the theater. I liked these 2 men. I thought that they really knew what they were doing and that their plans were truthful and honest and right down the right road. So I said, okay, I'll be the artistic director. And so it has come to pass, and here we are on the eve of our first production of this new season.
Well, you know, you have already received, or you are about to receive, 2 huge grants.
Mm-hmm.
One for $40,000 and
Right.
one for $21,000, the governor's grant
Right.
for artistic achievement.
Yeah.
Now, these are not just given as a whim. I know a little
I
bit
believe
about
we are the
granting
first.
and-
I believe we are the first new theater ever to get grants like that, and I think it really is. It's a validation of the quality of our work and the quality of our aspirations. You know, they know that we mean what we say, and they know we have put in the effort and assembled the right talent to make it work, to make it happen. And so I think they want to encourage that, since there is no other theatrical professional company in Bergen County.
All right, you have been heard to describe this as an actor's studio, and that is your philosophy.
I would
explain a little
I would
on
only
that?
quarrel with one word of that. It's
All
not
right.
an actor's studio.
Actors,
It's an actor's theater.
Right.
The actor's studio is more of a laboratory where actors in New York City go to try out various things. And it was the place that spawned such great actors as Marlon Brando. But that was when Kazan was there, and a number of other great people. What I'm talking about, we are a theatrical company. The actor studio is not.
Mm-hmm.
Our purpose is solely to put on productions, and we will run a conservatory as well for the preparation of actors, but this will only be in conjunction with a thoroughgoing, healthy, vigorous theater.
But you have a philosophy of acting.
I do. The philosophy I have is that acting is for actors, not for directors and not for writers. Without writers, there's no theater, although the first actors were storytellers, and anyone who can tell a story is, I mean, certainly you have performers like Whoopi Goldberg who do their own material. You have Lily Tomlin. So many people, so many actors will just get up and improvise, and this will be entertaining. It is also wonderful to have great playwrights. And so this theater will exist on very good plays, and we honor our writers, our new writers, and our revered writers from the past. But the accent here is on the performance. The accent here is on the development, the full development and polish of form and content. In actors' terms, well, let's say in painters' terms, you could say that the form was the shape of the actual painting and the colors, and the content would be the emotional effect on you. Well, in actors' terms, the content could be said in a painting to be the subject. In actors' terms, the content is the emotional life, the inner life of the actor, and the form is the way he moves, the way he speaks, and the way he phrases, the way he presents it to you. So that the form of Dustin Hoffman in a given role would be different from the form of Laurence Olivier in a given role. In the same role, their form would be completely different. Even their content would be different, because most English actors are very light in content and very heavy in form. That is to say, they speak very beautifully. They're very clear in their acting, but emotionally they leave one a bit wanting. American acting, very often at its best, is very affecting, like Russian acting. It's very touching to the heart. It might be said that most American actors have not developed the form enough. They have developed the communication in terms of the emotion, in terms of the charisma, in terms of the truth of their work, but not necessarily the form, the speech, the movement. At the moment, we are, it seems to me, in America, trying to capture the form, but once again at the expense of the content. So that a generation of actors has come up who are very heavy in form, who speak very well and move very well, and they can tumble and they can use a sword, but they don't make one cry, you know. And that's, they don't touch the heart as much. And so I'm against that. And this theater is sort of standing on the shoulders, we'll say, of the group theater, which was founded in the 30s by Sanford Meisner and Elia Kazan and people like that, and produced such actors as Garfield, John Garfield, and people like that, and then led to the Actors Studio. And I would say that we would stand on the shoulders of that movement, and we want to add the form to this content that they developed so beautifully. And that's what our experiment is about. And so far, it is, I feel, very convinced that we've already accomplished a great deal with that. And we have much more to do when we get into the classical repertory, when we get into Strindberg, when we get into Chekhov, Ibsen, Shakespeare, and the great writers of all time. That takes another dimension. I won't attempt it without a fine cadre of well-developed actors to do it with.
Speaking of roles, and we were talking about this a few minutes before we went on air, you said you now could pick and choose your own roles, which is wonderful after all these years. What do you look for in a role?
There's a little bell that goes off inside an actor if he's being truthful with himself, and he either says, this is a role for me or it's not. I go along with Tommaso Salvini, the great actor of the turn of the century, perhaps the greatest Othello of all time, if we're to believe Stanislavski's description of his Othello. And I say that at a certain age, even though I prize versatility, there are so many roles I'm right for, it's foolish to go beyond that. There are many, many roles I'm right for. So I look for something that touches me and that I feel that I'm right for physically and emotionally and intellectually. And if these come together, then, like for instance in Shakespeare, to give you an idea of what I would do given the time to do it, I would do Othello, I would do Coriolanus, I would do Macbeth, I would do, I said Othello, did I not? Those are the roles that would come first to mind. I might do a Petruchio, you know, Taming the Shrew. I certainly would do a Shylock. Those are the roles, but I certainly would not do Hamlet. I certainly would not do Hal, you know, Henry. I certainly would do Falstaff. And so you see, there are roles that a middle-aged person gravitates toward, and a person of my temperament.
Well, you've done such a gamut of roles, too. They have never put you into a category.
Never.
How did you avoid that?
I don't know. I think I was lucky enough to be recognized for the ear, the dialect ability, the ability with changing my voice and my speech, and versatility was a part of my life very early. And it seems to me that the producers said, oh, he can do this dialect and he can do that dialect, and let's give him let's give him this and that, and that's what they've done. I've never been typecast.
In the early days, Paul, did you do a lot of struggling before you made it? Or were you one of those lucky ones that just slid right into a role?
No, it only took me about 17 years before I got to make a living in the business.
What kind of jobs did you do?
I was a waiter and bartender for a catering service. I was an automobile salesman, an insurance salesman, sold dictionaries in the street. I sold lighthouse products for the blind. I was,
You were up in the Catskills,
I was in the
too.
Catskills as a social director.
Did you
there's
sing
so
in the
many
Catskills?
I was also a chauffeur. Yes, I sang in the Catskills. My first job was at age 16. It was my first professional job in Cairo, New York, and I was a nightclub singer about 4 weeks. Made $25 a week, room and board.
I read someplace, now I've been wrong before, as we both know today, that you were known as Val Sorvino.
Val Sorvino, the romantic voice of Val
Val
Sorvino,
Sorvino.
appeared at the New Yorker Hotel when I was about 21 for 2 weeks. I sang there at the supper club called the Golden Thread Room. And of course I sang for 2 days once when I was in the Army down in La Cucaracha in Juarez. And I was known as the romantic voice of Val Sorvino from New York, the famous Italian singer, Mr. Val Sorvino. So that's what I was there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then I was Paul DeVere when I was baritone. Paul DeVere, baritone. Val Sorvino, the romantic voice of Val Sorvino. And I also worked in a musical once calling myself Paul Anthony, which are my first two names. And when I sold cars, I was known as Val Anthony. So all these aliases seemed necessary. My last job was as Vice President, Creative Director of an advertising agency as a writer. And so that was the highest toned job I ever had.
But just think of all the experience and the characters it gave you to eventually play.
I don't know that I took the characters from my work. I think that it would have been just as well if I had gotten to work at 18 or 19.
Right.
And I would have still been observing all the characters at the same time. I just wouldn't have had to have worked so hard, that's all. I don't think there's any advantage in working that hard to get a career. I see no advantage to it whatsoever.
Now you have sons. How do you feel about them going into
Well, I have
the
one
business?
son and I have two daughters. The oldest daughter wants to go into the theater, so that's Mira. She's up at Harvard now and a sophomore. She is up for the lead in a movie right now. She has been offered one other lead in a movie, which she had to turn down because they wanted her for a nude scene, and she wouldn't do that, of course. Our middle daughter, Amanda, who is 16, is a composer and pianist, wonderfully gifted as well. And Michael, our 8-year-old boy, who will be 9 in November, is taking tap and loves to do things like that. They're very bright children, very wonderful children. And if they have to go into this business, then they have to. I wouldn't recommend it, but if that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. In which case, I'll make it as easy for them as I can.
Why not?
Yeah.
Sure, you paid your dues.
I certainly have.
You studied singing. You wanted to be...
I take 3 lessons a week now.
You're still studying?
Oh, yes. I intend to go into the opera within the next year.
What role do you want to play?
Otello.
Otello.
But there are many others I want to do, too. Aida, Radames and Aida, Otello, Samson and Sansone. So many. I mean, Bohème, Tosca, even Elisir d'Amore, Turandot, Manon Lescaut, De Grieux. So many. All the standard dramatic tenor roles and a few of the lyric tenors. I'm really a lirico spinto, which means combination of the big voice, but still the lyric sound also as well. So it's
That's from the heart. That's the Neapolitan from the heart.
I'm a Neapolitan, I sure am.
Mm-hmm, from the heart. And that's why you like all these roles that are gutsy.
Yes.
Sure. You are an author also.
I am. And the book is called How to Become a Former Asthmatic. It's about getting rid of asthma, which I did when I was 25.
Is that what made you write the book?
What made me write the book was that so many people, I taught it the exercises to 300 or 400 people, and I taught the certain exercises to my son, who had a almost lethal bout of asthma when he was 3 years old. So it just occurred to me, I was playing tennis with a writer friend of mine, he said, "This is really a book." And I said, "No, it's just a 2-page instruction sheet." He said, "No, it's not, it's a book." And he put me together with his agent, and the agent said, "This is a book," and we are now in paperback, and the first one in hardback we sold 50,000 copies, which was 16th on the bestseller, national bestseller nonfiction list, and the paperback is doing well, and I just hope that everybody who needs it gets it, because it is extraordinarily helpful in the treatment of asthma.
Is it true you helped a woman on the street?
I saved her life. She was dying in front of me.
Really?
I mean, I'm not a doctor, and so I couldn't tell you if she was actually dying, but when a person's face turns gray and their lips turn blue and their eyes get glassy, to me that looks like a person's going to die.
Right.
Yes, and I really tried. I got the exercises to her, which are something like, so where you have to kind of flex the muscles of the lips, take a very deep breath, a lateral breath, and that in a certain methodical way is what alleviates the asthma, plus certain dietary things is very helpful. But the main thing is the breathing exercises.
Well, I hope everyone goes out and gets it who is in need of
Yes,
something like
indeed.
this. I really do.
It's the real thing, The doctor who wrote the foreword to the book had an asthmatic son who I helped out and no longer has it. So,
If you had to be remembered by one thing that you've done, what would it be?
one professional achievement, you mean?
Right.
I wouldn't leave it on one thing. There's no way to do that. And I'm just scratching the surface. This whole new project of ours, the American Stage Company, I hope to be my artistic home for the next 30 years. I want to sing opera as well. I'm sure there are at least 4 or 5 plays in me to write. There are so many things I want to do. I wouldn't ever put it on one thing. My biggest successes have been in several movies and plays and several television movies, but I guess paramount among those would be that championship season on Broadway, for which I was nominated for awards and won some. But no, I haven't done anywhere near what I have to do to consider being remembered for one of those things.
What was your favorite role? Now, you just said you won a Tony.
My
for that
favorite role,
championship
I didn't win the
season,
Tony. I
but-
was nominated for Best Actor for the Tony. I won the New York Drama Critics Award for championship season. I won the Outer Critics Circle Award. I would say that's certainly my favorite stage role. I mean, there's nothing that is compared to that. It's a great play. It's, to my mind, the last of the great plays written in America. And
What about film?
in film, I think my most successful and my favorite characterizations were the preacher in Oh God, the first Oh God, where I played the evangelist, Reverend Willie Williams.
Loved it.
And then I would say that as a dramatic expression, my favorite is a movie that I did called Dummy, where I played a deaf trial lawyer, which is based on a true story and a living person by the name of Lowell Myers. And I had to learn how to speak with deaf speech and do a little signing, and it was very good material. And an actor must get the material. My brother and I were talking about it this morning, and I've done in 30 movies and only 2 hits. And you think about some people have been in, 2 movies and 2 hits. There's a great amount of luck in it. I've been involved with the best directors and the best people in movies, and yet it's the luck of the draw. You never know which movie is going to be a hit. If you're lucky enough to be in a hit or 2, then your career is tremendous. My career has been good. I have no regrets, but I've never had the role in a movie that was a success. So, other than the Oh God, but that was not enough to propel a career. That was strictly a wild, outrageous character role. And it helped my reputation and gave me lots more character roles, but it has not yet happened. The role has not come along yet.
What is George Burns like? Is he really what he appears to be?
Yes. Yes, he's very nice to work with. I only worked with him for 2 weeks. But he's very bright, very funny. He loves to entertain, tell stories. And I said, "George, George, George." And he said, "I'm never going to listen to you sing again." He said, he's a funny guy.
You know, no one will forgive me if we don't get into The Rainmaker, which is the show that you're directing. That
Yes.
opens the new season.
Yes, it does. The first performance is on October 21st. Opening night is October 24th. We have a magnificent cast of people, professional actors, and I am so thrilled with the way the rehearsals are going. This will touch everyone. It's got its funny moments, it's deep, it's entertaining, and it is just a marvelous, marvelous play, one of the great plays of the last 30 or 40 years. And we have a cast to meet the play. So I'm thrilled with it.
Are they from New York, or did you get them
They're
from New Jersey?
almost all from New York, yeah, I think. As a matter of fact, they're all from New York City. I don't do that on purpose. In All the King's Men, we had about 7 people from New Jersey. I like to pull from as much as I can from the university. And we have a second company that is also going to do this, and that'll be mostly from the university, but with a professor, Rick Lombardo, who's my assistant director on this, who will direct the second company. So I'm trying as much as I can to involve the community and the university, because I think the closer you stay to home, the better it is. But in certain roles, and to keep a certain level of professionalism, I have to go wherever the actors are. And wherever they are, that's where I have to take them from. Someone shows up from Passaic who's just right for the role, he's got the role. It's not a matter of where he's from, it's a matter of what he can do, or she can do.
As a director, what is your style of working with a group? Do you let them develop within themselves? Do you tell them what you want, what you see?
No, I guess I would say I let them develop within themselves. The performances guide the concept, not the concept of performances. I disdain directors who arrogate to themselves the power of life and death over the performance, because you never allow the great theatrical artists to develop their concepts, to develop their characters fully. You have to allow these very talented people to give you what the play is about. You have to have a general idea of what the play is about. But these concepts of, all of a sudden putting them in Nazi Germany in 1942 when it's a Shakespearean play, I mean, this is, for the most part, this is nonsense. Very few of these things have succeeded. They succeed if they do as novelties on the short term. My feeling is that when you're doing a revival, it is all about the actors. When you're doing a new play, of course, you're working hand in glove with the writer and the actors, and it is the actors who help the writer and director fashion the play. Ideally, a writer should be connected to a theater, so he has a group of actors whom he knows and he can write for. And so hopefully down the road we might get something like that. At the moment we don't have anything like that. But yes, I let them explain the play to me from their insides. Then their discoveries spur discoveries in me. And so we work really together. They block the show. That is to say, I don't tell them where to go. They have an idea. I say, well, no, I don't think you should go there. Well, perhaps we'll try this. They have an idea. I say, good. That way, So any director who arrogates great power to himself is just being foolish and ultimately self-defeating. Because even Kazan, I mean, especially Kazan, whom I think is the greatest American director, used the great talents of the people he was working with. And he was only great when he had great actors. And they were only great when they were working with him. So there's a lot to do with it. The director is the other side of the coin for the actor. Hopefully an actor should be as well a director. And a director must, to my mind, certainly be an actor or understand it very well. Exceptions might be Ingmar Bergman and Martin Scorsese, whom I don't think were actors, but they have something else to give. But Kazan was a very, very good actor indeed.
What actor, if there is anyone, that you look up to?
I don't look up to any one actor as a paragon of virtue, but each one has his own particular virtue. Brando had great style, great charisma, and great looks. A truthful actor, an exciting, thrilling actor. Comes along very, very rarely, an actor like that. But he never developed the form. He never developed the voice. He never developed the outward part of the acting. So even his character roles, which were good, better than the average fellow, were not at the level of a very highly developed character actor. So he kind of existed a little too much on talent to suit me. But his successes, for instance, a movie that I don't care for, Reflections in a Golden Eye, has perhaps his best technical performance. And of course, On the Waterfront, I think, is his high watermark. The Last Tango in Paris was, I think, an abominable piece of junk, but he had his moments in it. But he's always got something to show you. John Voight is a wonderful character actor, one of the best we've ever had. Very truthful and very, very meticulous in detail. I admire him for that. Within a limited scope, Robert De Niro is a genius in a limited scope. Playing street lunatics. There's no one like him. Everybody's got something.
I hope I'm not going to get letters.
If you get letters, you should answer them.
All right, I'll send them on to you.
Send them on to me.
I'll send them to you.
You know, everybody has something. Everybody good has something.
That's
I admire Glenda Jackson because she has almost everything, and Geraldine Page because she has everything. She's not a ravishing. She was never a ravishing beauty, but that's all she lacked. Because Geraldine Page, to my mind, is the greatest all-around actor in the world. Glenda Jackson would be her equal or a close second. Maggie Smith is a great actor. Of course, I like actors like Diane Keaton very much. I like Al Pacino very much. I like Raul Julia, especially as Othello. He's probably the greatest Othello of the century.
That is until you play it.
Oh, no, don't forget me. I let other people judge my work. I never judge my own work. I just do it and compete with myself. Yes, there are many actors that I admire. Many I've worked with, many I admire for various things.
Cool. They're giving me all kinds of signals that
Yes,
our
I've
time
got
is
to go
just
back to
about up.
rehearsal.
You
yeah.
have to go back to rehearsal. Thank you so much for taking time out.
It's been a joy.
It's been a pleasure for me. We all look forward to it all day. And to all of you out there, thank you so much for joining us. If you have asthma or you know anyone who has it, don't forget to get a hold of Paul's book. And we hope you come up to see the American Stage Company in Teaneck, New Jersey. And the telephone number for that is 692-7720. I'll see you all next month, and in the meantime, take care.